Hello and welcome back to the Hot Lap as we are getting ready for Las Vegas, our Las Vegas Grand Prix preview where Max Verstappen could, maybe, probably should win that fourth World Championship. So welcome. Now before we get into Max Verstappen winning that fourth World Championship, potentially at Las Vegas, what time? Well, here in the UK, at an hour or so for you, my European friends, at the race. The race is at 6 o'clock on the morning of the 24th of November. That is a Sunday morning, even though the actual race is on Saturday local time. Qualifying it again at 6 to 7 on the 23rd. Practice 3 slightly early if you want to get up for that at 2:30. Oh my gosh! And then practice 1 and practice 2 at 2:30 and 6 o'clock respectively on Friday. The 22nd. So, looking exciting. I'm looking forward to this. It was a much maligned track, if I'm honest, coming into the actual weekend. There were problems in the practice. If you remember, one practice session was completely kiboshed. Didn't happen at all, did it? But then the weekend kind of got better. Max Verstappen, slight having a go at the track. I don't like it, yada, yada, yada. And we're quite happy to celebrate his win. So, I don't know, an element of hypocrisy there, baby, but I don't think anyone was going to take away that win from Max Verstappen. It was one of his better wins for the 2023 season. Not the easiest of wins as well. It was quite the entertaining race. So let's get into how Max Verstappen can win the title at the 2024 Las Vegas Grand Prix. So we have 3 Grand Prix and 1 sprint left for the 2024 season. Max has a 62-point lead in the Drivers' Championship. His current advantage means that for the first time this season, we have a title decider. If Verstappen wins the title in Las Vegas, he'll be the first driver to win the World Championship there since Keke Rosberg. Yes, it's Nico Rosberg's dad, all the way back before most of you were born, I imagine, in 1982. Max Verstappen's unexpected victory from 17th of the grid at the Brazilian Grand Prix really put him in hunt for the title race. As much as Max did good in that race, Lando Norris pretty much hit the reverse button seemingly on his title hope, which really sucks. But I know you want to get into how can Max Verstappen win the title? Well, here we go. So Verstappen will be champion in Las Vegas if he finishes ahead of Norris. Simples. Norris is second and Verstappen is third with the fastest lap. Norris is third and Verstappen is fourth with the fastest lap. Norris is fourth and Verstappen is fifth. Norris is fifth and Verstappen is sixth. Yeah, you can see this. There's a slight link here, isn't there? Norris is 6th and Verstappen is 7th. Norris is 7th and Verstappen is 8th. Norris is 8th and Verstappen is 9th. And Norris is 10th. Or fails to score. So essentially, the big one is if Verstappen finishes ahead of Norris, definitely champion. And if Verstappen is close to Norris, it's probably not going to happen either. A bit close, but there we go. There are your title premonitions. Let's get into the track, shall we? So here we go. This is Las Vegas. Let's have a look at the track. It is, what is it? An upside down pig. A lot of people have been said, which I don't know, is it a bit harsh? Maybe, but anyway, here we go. So here is the track. So we're coming into the final corner, which is very, as you can see, the tracks in the bottom is really important here. As we hit, so the first corner, you can overtake. Side by side. It's not the easiest place though, and it does start getting quite tight as we come now to the first DRS zone. It is a long straight, and we have seen overtaking here. Bear in mind, we don't have that much data. This track has only been around for 1 year, but hard braking here. I've even lost track of the numbers, so this is quite the rubbish track guide. But it's a real mixture. It's quite an interesting street track. It's faster, obviously. One of the faster street tracks, for example, compared to Singapore, obviously, and Monaco. As we now come down to the twisty sections, one of the best things about this track, as you can see here, yes, it's on F1 2024, is the background. All the buildings, all the lights. It looks absolutely stunning, even when you are playing the game now. So there are chicanes like Miami. Will the bollard be Verstappen's kryptonite, as you saw there? So we're getting in the realms now of the next DRS zone, which, here we go. So, once again, this is probably the longest straight on the track where we are now. This is probably the one where it's going to see the most overtaking, which we saw here. And as we hit the brakes, it's obviously one of the biggest braking zones. Now, what's interesting is, after this chicane here, it's pretty much flat until the end. Full bananas, full beans, on pedal to the metal, all the way now to the end of the lap. We've got this long left-hander, but it's so fast, it's not going to stop anyone in respect of those aerodynamics being too close to a car. Spots the other track will, but the last corner won't. So yeah. So essentially that's the Las Vegas track. There's not really much to say because there's been so little history. I mean, last year Max Verstappen won, but it was Charles Leclerc on pole, and it was Oscar Piastri that has got the lap record here. Somewhat interestingly, let's say. So let's get into the drivers then, as we always do. And let's start with the Haas team, shall we? Let's start, yes, I know, with Oliver Behrman, who will not be turning up, I imagine, because Kevin Magnussen did have a bit of a tummy ache. But if he does turn up, well, another street track, why not? But this man here, he enters now his last 3 Grand Prix, the last triple header, and he has been doing rather well, hasn't he? He's been outshining Nico Hulkenberg, the Wunderkind. Nico Hulkenberg, well, he's not really a kind anymore, kind meaning child in German, but still. He's been outshining Nico Hulkenberg. Is that because he's got nothing to lose? Surely, though, other people are going to be looking at him with one eyebrow raised, and he will have a drive not necessarily in Formula One, but maybe IndyCar, maybe WEC. I mean, it would be a bit of a travesty if he didn't have any kind of drive at all. But his teammate here, I fully expect him to maybe get on board. These are the last 3 races. He wants to finish with Haas on a high, obviously knowing he still has a job for next year. I think he'll do well. Top 10, absolutely. Ferrari did well here last year. But, there's a but, and hopefully if I remember it, we'll get into the but when we get to the Ferrari team. The biggest team that needs something, and we need a crazy race. I don't think it's going to rain, but we need a crazy race for these guys to get points. I really want Stake F1 Sauber to get points. I really want Zhao Guanyu, or, to be honest, more so, Valtteri Bottas. Both of these drivers are probably now out of Formula One, which is really sad. There's rumours that Bottas is going to go to Mercedes, so fingers crossed there as the reserve/test driver. But still, it is an absolute travesty that this team has not scored points. Yes, they're more than likely to finish last in the championship. Come on, we want a bit of a crazy race. If they could finish points, I think that would maybe, potentially, depending who the winner is, be the best result of the race. I don't think they will, though. They need something big to happen. So, talking about big things, can this man carry on? He, I mean, the rookies had not the best, not the best outings, I think. Your Lawsons, your Colapintos, and your Behrmans had in Brazil compared to other races. He needs to beat Tsunoda. There are rumours, all these rumours of Colapinto taking that Red Bull seat rather than the RB seat for next year. Nothing has been confirmed though, so let's be honest, everything is to play, but I expect a really strong weekend for Lawson. This will be a test. It is a hard race. I think this is the hardest race so far that Liam Lawson's come up against in Las Vegas. It's going to be a massive test. And talking about tests, this guy has been here before. He's going to have to use every advantage. This is what I find crazy is this guy, Yuki Tsunoda, he's the least likely candidate for that Red Bull seat, but I don't know why. He's basically been better than everyone so far that's come up against him. Yeah. So, obviously including Ricciardo, Nick de Vries, Liam Lawson, and you have to wonder why Red Bull just does not have the faith. I don't get it. And talking about having the faith, yes, it wasn't the best outing in Brazil for him, but everyone's still talking about Franco Colapinto. I'd say he's got nothing to lose. He has really. If he has Brazil, not the best weekend. It's a shame really because there were so many Colapinto fans. He's going to be, I think, like Lawson, but even more so than Lawson, under a lot of pressure because Lawson pretty much, I think, has a drive for next year, whatever happens. This guy, not necessarily. Williams seem to be playing hardball with negotiations when it comes to Red Bull. Potentially going to Red Bull. There's also been rumours about him going to Alpine and then sacking off their driver. I forgot. The Australian. And it's really bad now. Since the minute I press record, because I record live and I don't have too many notes, I completely forgot his name. Doin. That's it. Which would be really, really sad because I really want to see how good Doin is. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And obviously, this guy didn't even race in Brazil because of his crash. He did in Australia, but they decided no, you're not taking Colapintos this time. He has had since the second half of the year. Alex Albon has looked like the Alex Albon at Red Bull, under pressure, making silly errors maybe, and not really having the luck. He looks like the Red Bull Alex Albon, not the Alex Albon from 2023, which we all absolutely loved. So again, like Colapinto, but in a different way. The pressure very much on Alexander Albon, as is not so much, I think, with Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. They scored that double podium in Brazil, massive points. They're going to want to jump on that optimism, on that positivity at Brazil. I've got a funny feeling that I don't think both Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon are going to be as fast, obviously, as they were in Brazil. But you never know. You never know. It does get quite cold. If their cars is really good at warming up the tyres, yeah, maybe. But I don't think they're going to feature too much in the race. But I think we kind of maybe expect that. Brazil was a surprise. But what is a surprise? Well, it's not Lance Stroll driving into the gravel and out of the race, no. But what is a surprise is Fernando Alonso and the Aston Martin team. They've, as much as Lando Norris has hit the reverse button on his championship chances after Brazil, these guys have hit the nuclear bomb button, seemingly, because, wow, people are suggesting that they were the slowest cars in Brazil. I don't think they'll be the slowest cars here, but still, absolutely and massively disappointing. And speaking of disappointing, Oscar Piastri, he sprint race Brazil, really, really good, and then not particularly great in the races of Brazil, and as we said in our Brazil preview, not particularly great for the last few races. He's kind of really dropped off the radar, with everyone going, Oscar Piastri is going to beat Lando Norris. At the moment, I just don't see it. He has a lot more work to do than even I thought. He's still a solid driver. He's still a potential world champion when you look at how much he is improving. But compared to Lando Norris, I think, has not quite been in a different league, but he's definitely a few runs up that ladder. I've been disappointed in Piastri the last few races. Lando Norris, disappointed with him in Brazil. Other than that, I think he's had a really, really solid season. So lots of people, even on social media, being really, really unfair to him. I think he's done really well, obviously apart from Brazil. Yeah. But then, was that down to the setup? So Carlos Sainz, we had the best of Carlos Sainz in Mexico, the worst of Carlos Sainz in Brazil. Well, I wouldn't say the exact worst, but this is the Carlos Sainz problem. Everyone's like, oh no, why? They say he does a good race, he wins the race, has a fantastic podium. They're all like, why is Lewis Hamilton taking over Carlos Sainz? And I think, to be fair, Lewis is not particularly great, but when you look at peak Lewis, and Carlos Sainz, I think, isn't in his peak at the moment. That's the exact reason why he's not consistent enough. His, his driving at the top, when he can reach that, is as good as anyone. It's just that he needs to reach it a bit more. And it's going to be interesting in Las Vegas. Yes, he won Singapore last year. Yes, Charles Leclerc, I think beat him in qualifying in Las Vegas last year. But this is another chance, another race where he could get Charles Leclerc. He's going to really want to finish on a high in this next triple header. And speaking of guys, Charles Leclerc, boy, is this guy he's going to want to finish high coming into Las Vegas on this triple header, because he's getting ready for arguably, one of the greatest of all time coming into his team, and he's going to want to stamp out authority straight away, and that's going to really help with solid results, 3 solid results coming at the end of the season. So Mercedes, what's going to happen to Mercedes? Well, I've been reading and looking at the rumours, etc., that they've kind of given up on doing anything good for the last 3 races, to the point where I think if their car works well, it seemingly by pure chance they've just got the setup right, and it doesn't give me much faith going into 2025, which makes me feel a bit sorry for George Russell and the guy that's coming in Lewis's place, Kimi Antonelli. But still, I don't expect too many big things from Russell and Hamilton. Hamilton, that qualifying, oh my gosh, what is with that qualifying? We know how good he is in the race, and everyone states it's the qualifying speed, the one lap speed that goes first when you're out of it. I don't think Lewis is out of it. The problem with Lewis is he's a 7-time world champion, and I can't help but feel now he's at that age, that where if it looks like he's not going to win, I'm not saying he gives up. He just doesn't find that extra level. We saw that extra level, for example, in Belgium and Great Britain at Silverstone. And I think if suddenly that car's on song, he will be on song as well. In terms of qualifying, he is, despite his pole positions, I don't think he's ever really been, categorically, beyond any doubt, the fastest over one lap year on year. When you look at like Rosberg, Bottas, beaten in the pole, but I do think he's the best racer year on year throughout his peak. One of the best overtakers, harsh but fair. Take note, some. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. So Sergio Perez, now with much rumours about him being signed again for next year with Red Bull. Yeah, well, I don't know, but he needs. Let's be honest, he needs an amazing weekend to get any kind of respectability as an F1 race driver, not a person. Back. Will he? I don't know, but he finished third here last year. If he repeats that, I think that'll be a fairly solid result. And champion-elect Max Verstappen. Everyone's still lambasting about how good that Brazil win was. I think it was amazing. I think everyone's over-egging the wonderfulness of the Brazil pudding, because it was obviously massively helped by that red flag. I still think he would have won, but yeah, it was a really good result. I don't think it was the best result ever. I think there have been better races won out there. Not many though. I mean, we're talking like, this is easily going to be in the top 10. But deserving champion. Absolutely, he did a really solid first half of the season. That's really saved him. Really similar to Jenson Button's 2009 Brawn season. Does he go in as the favourite? No. Does he go in as one of the favourites? Absolutely. You can't, with the Red Bull car being, let's be fair, it's still a solid car. It's still a top 3 car, really going into the weekend. And what's so magic about 2024 is we do not know what car is going to be the fastest. So there we go. Fingers crossed for Max Verstappen there. So that's pretty much your full preview. We will obviously have coverage. As you know, it's not this weekend, it's next weekend. So kind of like an early preview. Because of this silly calendar that the FI have done, it is really, really silly. It's so silly, without swearing. If you do like what you see, though, please, it would be lovely if you could give us a subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate that. Hit that notification button so you do not miss a video. Give us a like, that'd be great. If you made it to the end, you are a world champion in our eyes. If you made it to the end and give us a like or comment, you're a multiple world champion. We will no doubt speak to you soon. We'll have more videos between obviously now and Las Vegas, but stay safe and thank you very much.